everyone, welcome back to the series where we began with the principles and the building blocks for economics. Today we go into the next chapter, that is how to think like an economist, how to deal with economic models, thinking like an economist. So this chapter will help you understand how economists approach problems and analyze the world. So it's all about developing an economic mindset, which is absolutely crucial for making informed decisions, right? So what are we going to learn in this chapter? We are going to learn how economists apply the method of science, how assumptions and models can shed light in the world. Two simple models we are going to take a look at: the circular flow and the productions possibility frontier, the difference between micro and macroeconomics, the difference between positive and normative statements, the role of economists in making policy, and why economists sometimes disagree with one another. So this is the lesson outcome that we are hoping to get by. Okay, so this is what we are going to follow. Okay, so let's continue and understand and start off the first part that we want to talk about today. So let's talk about the first part, that is the economist as a scientist. All right. So economists, much like a scientist, approach their subject with objectivity and precision. They make use of theories, collect data, and analyze it to understand and predict economic phenomenon. Let's break this down step by step. Okay. So observations help us to develop theory. Data can be collected and analyzed to evaluate these theories. Using data to evaluate the theories is more difficult in economics than in physical science, because economists are unable to generate their own data and must make do with whatever data is available from the world. Thus, economists pay very close attention to natural experiments offered by history. Okay, तो economist के पास में वो scientist के जैसा facility नहीं है to make their own data in order to make sure that their models are performing correctly. Okay, and the second part is that assumptions के बारे में बात करते हैं. Assumptions in an economic model simplify the complex world and make it easier to understand. Economists use assumptions to strip away irrelevant details and focus more on core issues. So core issues पे focus economists का रहता है by taking away the extra details. Okay, for example, to study trade, we might assume only two countries trading two goods, जो reality actual में नहीं है. While ये सुनने में आपको लगेगा कि ये तो एकदम ही realistic नहीं है, but it helps us understand and to grasp economic concepts. एक और एग्जाम्पल, आप लोग सब कोई गूगल मैप तो यूज करते होंगे, राइट? व्हेन यू ओपन इट ऑन योर मोबाइल फोन, यू सी दैट द मैप इज एब्सोल्युटली स्ट्रेट, जबकि ये हम लोग सबको पता है दैट द वर्ल्ड इज राउंड, राइट? बट अ सिंप्लीफिकेशन दैट एक गोल वर्ल्ड को एक फ्लैट सरफेस पे, which is not a realistic one, yet Google Maps helps you to get from one place to the other. ठीक है? So Google Maps is nothing but a working model of the real world made into a model. Okay? So as we have already seen, the scientific method in economics consists of observation, consists of theory development. Observation में we notice an economic phenomenon. Theory development में we are basically creating a theory in order to explain it. In the data collection area, we are gathering data to test the theory, and analysis is basically analyzing the data to verify or to refute the theory. Okay, so that's it. And as an example, we are putting an example, that is, if we observe that higher education levels correlate with higher income, we might develop a theory that education enhances productivity, leading to higher wages, We then collect data on education levels and income to test this theory. So एक हमने hypothesis को create किया, उसके बाद में we collect the data in order to see whether that hypothesis is correct. Then we spoke about the role of assumptions. Role of assumptions के बारे में तो हमने बहुत अच्छे से explain किया. The simplest example is of Google Maps. That is a simplification of the round world, yet it is a model that is so easy for us to get from point A to point B in the world. Okay, so ये हो गया role of assumptions. अब हम लोग economic models के बारे में बात करेंगे. Right. So economic models use diagrams and equations to simplify the reality. Okay, economists use models to represent the world. These models are often composed of, as I said, diagram के साथ साथ में equation. Okay, and essential relationships are highlighted and understood because of this. So सबसे पहला मॉडल के बारे में अभी बात करेंगे, that is the circular flow diagram model. Okay, अब ये मॉडल क्या दिखा रहा है? As you can see, the circular flow diagram is a visual model of the economy that shows dollars flow through market among household and firms. तो household and firms के बीच में dollars कैसे flow कर रहा है? The diagram is very simple model of an economy. Note that obviously it ignores the roles of government and international trade. Okay, फिर भी ये simple है, yet it is a very good estimation of the reality. Okay, so there are two decision makers in the model, households and firms. Okay, there are two markets, the market for goods and services and the market of factors of production. ठीक है, firms are the sellers in the market for goods and buyers in the market for factor of production. ठीक है, and households are buyers in the market for goods and services and seller in the market of production. ठीक है, I hope all of you are able to see this. देख पा रहे हैं? सही है, ठीक है. Okay, the inner loop basically represents the flow of inputs and output between the household and firms, and the outer loop represents the flow of dollars between households and firms. तो inner and outer loop को अच्छे से देखिए. outer loop है flow of dollar, inner loop है flow of goods and services. Okay, एक और अच्छा डायग्राम मैं आपको दिखाने का ट्राई करता हूं. So as all of you can see, what we have here is that the inner loop is representing the flow of input and output between the household and firms, and the outer loop represents the flow of dollars between the household and firms. ठीक है, तो ये हो गया हम लोग का सर्कुलर फ्लो डायग्राम मॉडल. ठीक है, अभी सेकंड मॉडल के बारे में बात करेंगे. सेकंड मॉडल इज आवर प्रोडक्शन पॉसिबिलिटी फ्रंटियर मॉडल. ओके, अब ये प्रोडक्शन पॉसिबिलिटी फ्रंटियर मॉडल क्या है? This model illustrates how the combinations of output that an economy can produce given its resources and technology, कि कितना maximum output ये economy produce कर सकता है. तो ये क्या demonstrate करता है? ये demonstrate करता है concepts of trade-off, opportunity cost and efficiency. Points on the PPF are efficient, points inside are inefficient, and points outside are unattainable with the current resources. ओके, ठीक है, तो ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. सो ये जो एग्जांपल यहां पर एक डायग्राम मैंने पुट किया है, दिस इज एन एग्जांपल ऑफ एन इकोनॉमी दैट इज बेसिकली प्रोड्यूसिंग कार्स एंड कंप्यूटर्स. ओके, तो यहां पर इफ यू कैन सी, इफ ऑल द रिसोर्सेज ऑफ द इकोनॉमी is devoted to producing cars, the economy would produce 1000 cars and 0 computers. ये देखिए, ये पॉइंट है यहां पे, 1000 cars is the x intercept. Okay, if all the resources are devoted to producing computers, the economy would produce 3000 computers and 0 cars. More likely the resources will be divided between the two industries. कभी भी 0 computer या 0 cars will not be produced. हमेशा वो division होगा. The feasible combinations of outputs are shown in the production possibility frontier. तो ये जो production possibility का frontier के जो points हैं, ये points are basically the feasible points. Now मैं आपको एक टेबल दिखा सकता हूँ. ये टेबल इज व्हाट वी आर पुटिंग देयर. जस्ट गिव मी अ मोमेंट, आई विल जस्ट शेयर द टेबल. ये टेबल से मैंने ये पीपीएफ बनाया. राइट, सो द डायग्राम इज हियर, एंड व्हेन यू टेक अ लुक एट द डायग्राम, you can easily see that because the resources are scarce, not every combination of computers and cars is possible. Production at a point outside the curve, such as C, ये देखिए C यहां पर है दिया हुआ. This C is right on the production possibility frontier. Okay, and a point such as D is impossible to produce because it's unattainable. Right, so D is unattainable, C is on the production possibility frontier and it is efficient, A is on the production possibility frontier and is efficient, B is an inefficient point क्योंकि I am not utilizing my economy's resources to the optimal if I produce at a point B. Okay, okay, so production at a point D is not possible. Production at a point C and A is efficient. Okay, and production at a point B for Bombay is inefficient. This means that the economy is producing less than it can from the resources available. If the source of the inefficiency is eliminated, the economy can increase the production of both the goods. Okay, so the production possibility frontier in a very simplistic manner is revealing the building block number one that we discussed, that is people face trade-off. So supposing the economy is currently producing 600 cars and 2200 computers, okay, to increase the production of cars to 700, the production of computers must fall to 2000. You can see that. So 600 and 2200, if I want to increase the production of car from 600 to 700, I will have to reduce my computer production from 2200 to 2000. Basic building block number two is also shown by the production possibility frontier. The cost of something is what you give up to get it. The opportunity cost of increasing the production of cars again from 600 to 700 is 200 computers. So the opportunity cost of each car is 2 computers. Because I increase my car production by 100, I will have to reduce my computer production by 200. So the opportunity cost of having one extra car is foregoing 2 computers. Okay, and obviously the opportunity cost of a car depends on the number of cars and computers currently produced in the economy. It's not a constant. The opportunity cost of a car is high when the economy is producing many cars and only a few computers. The opportunity cost of a car is very low when the economy is producing few cars and many computers. Okay, and it's a fact that economists generally believe that the production possibility frontier often has this bowed out shape. Okay, because some resources are better suited to the production of cars than computers. Okay, so there is a resource wise efficiency for each of the sectors. So it is inefficient. I won't call it inefficient. It will not be the best use of the resources if I produce everything, if I give everything to only one good production. Hence, it is a little bowed out. Okay. Now, shifting in the production possibility frontier can definitely take place because of technological enhancements, resource availability increases. Economic growth can also be illustrated by an outward shift of the production possibility frontier or the PPF. Okay? So this is what we have as the second model that we wanted to discuss. Now, having understood the two models, now we'll talk about the two major segregations in economics, that is microeconomics and macroeconomics. Okay, economics is studied on various levels. For microeconomics, it is the study of how households and firms make decisions and how they interact in the markets. For macroeconomics, it is the study of economy-wide phenomena, including inflation, unemployment, and economic growth. Micro and macroeconomics are closely intertwined because the changes in the overall economy arise from the decisions of individual consumers and firms. Because microeconomics and macroeconomics address different questions, each field has its own set of models which are often taught in separate courses. So abhi जो microeconomics का course हम लोग पढ़ रहे हैं, macroeconomics का course will be in the next semester. Okay, so macro are the two different areas of economics. Okay, chalo, next, it's important for us to understand positive versus normative statements. Okay, it's important for us to understand positive versus normative statements. So economists often make a distinction between the positive and normative statements. Positive statements are descriptive and attempt to explain the world as it is. They can be tested and validated with data. A rise in the minimum wage will lead to higher unemployment among teenagers is a positive statement. It can be validated with data. By taking a random sample of teenagers, it can be validated. Normative statements are prescriptive in nature. जैसे डॉक्टर के पास में जाते हैं, वो प्रिस्क्रिप्शन आपको लिख कर देता है, and it is basically suggesting how the world should be. They are based on values. वो values पे based हैं. Positive statement is based on how the world is and can be tested by data. Normative is based on values, cannot be tested. Example, the government should raise the minimum wage to ensure a fair living standard for all workers. The government should raise the minimum wage to ensure a fair living standard for all workers. It's a value. It's something that you want the world to be like this. Okay, that's a normative statement. Okay, these two are important. Much of economics is positive statement. It tries to explain how the economy works, but those who use economics often have goals that are normative. So the goal is normative, but the models are usually positive. Okay, they want to understand how to improve the economy and go to the value system. Okay, next we want to understand the role of economists in policy. Economists often serve as advisors to policymakers, providing insights based on their analysis. They help craft policies by predicting the outcomes of different actions. Okay, examples of economists' roles would be advising on tax policies, analyzing the impact of new regulations, forecasting economic growth and inflation. Okay, so these are a few examples of economists' roles. Okay, why economists disagree? Okay, economists may disagree due to different interpretations of data or models. Okay, and that's the beauty of economics, that things can be interpreted in various ways. We get to see difference in opinions between people, and that's good because that is how we evolve, right? Economic data can often be complex and open to multiple interpretations. An example of this would be some economists might believe that cutting taxes stimulates economic growth by increasing the consumer spending, while others might argue that it leads to budget deficits without significantly boosting growth. Okay, so differences in scientific judgments is the first difference that economists may have. Okay, that's the first differences in scientific judgments. Second difference can be the difference in values. Economists often have different values leading to different policy recommendations. These values influence their views on equity and efficiency. An example of the same would be debates on healthcare often reflect different values. Some economists prioritize efficiency and might argue for minimal government intervention, while others prioritize equity and advocate for universal healthcare. Right? So that difference in the economist opinion can arise due to values. That's the second. First was difference in scientific judgment. Second is values. And third is perception versus reality. Okay. Now, while it seems that if economists do not agree on much, this in fact is not very true. Okay, there are a few propositions which I shall actually list down, which a majority of economists agree on. Like, for example, almost all economists believe that rent control adversely affects the availability and quality of housing. Okay, most economists would oppose barriers to trade. The Bush administration, for example, imposed temporary tariffs on steel in 2002, which was opposed. Okay, so that's about why economists disagree. Difference in value. Right. Now, closing down this part is not very easy, but let me make an attempt. So, in this session, we have explored how economists think and approach problems. We discussed the use of scientific methods, models, and assumptions in economic analysis. We differentiated between positive and normative statements and examined why economists sometimes disagree. These tools and concepts are absolutely crucial for understanding and analyzing economic issues. Okay. Thank you so much for joining me in the exploration for economic thinking. Understanding these foundational concepts will help you to critically analyze economic policies and issues. Now, please stay tuned for the next session where we will go into interdependence and gains from trade. ठीक है, तो आई होप कि सबको ये वाला सेशन बहुत अच्छा लगा, पसंद आया. इकोनॉमिस्ट के थिंकिंग पैटर्न को हमने अभी डिफाइन किया है, क्यों वो डिसएग्री करते हैं, कितने अलग अलग टाइप के स्टेटमेंट्स होते हैं, कितने अलग अलग टाइप के डिविजन्स है इकोनॉमिक्स में. तो हमने सब कुछ देखा है. अभी नेक्स्ट गेन्स फ्रॉम ट्रेड में जाएंगे एंड इंटरडिपेंडेंसीज के बारे में बात करेंगे. थैंक यू सो मच एवरीवन फॉर बीइंग अ पार्ट ऑफ द सेशन. आई विल सी यू इन द नेक्स्ट. टिल देन, बाय बाय.